Signing a mortgage commitment letter. Brought to you by homemortgageontario.ca as well as canadabysouth.ca. Once your offer to purchase has been sent to homemortgageontario.ca, you will then receive a commitment letter from the lender. Essentially what this does is it takes your pre-approval to a more serious level, where now you have the signed offer to purchase and you actually would like that financing to take place. So now what we're looking to do is we're looking for the lender to make a formal commitment to the buyer and the buyer to make a formal commitment to the lender. So in this case, you're going to see on the screen that there are about 10 pages in this particular commitment letter, and this is from that same lender from our pre-approval MCAP. However, there are many different lenders across Ontario, and you might have a commitment letter from a different lender depending on your particular situation. So just to go through this commitment letter briefly with you, you'll notice there'll be a few things on there, such as the mortgage number, your details, as well as what the property address will be that this mortgage will be assigned to, your closing date, as well as the advance date, and a few other details will also be included on this commitment letter. Your interest rate here, notice that this is the same client who had a pre-approval for 3.14% for 5 years. However, this commitment letter is showing 2.89%. So since they did purchase and the interest rates did not rise, they did receive the best interest rate at that time. So your pre-approval rate will not necessarily be the rate on your commitment letter. Heading to the next page, the commitment letter will ask you for your solicitor information, which is essentially your lawyer information. You can select the lawyer of your choice, so definitely feel free to shop around. Every lawyer has different fees, so if you're looking to save money, you might want to shop around to different lawyers. However, if you've already been using a lawyer and you feel comfortable with that particular lawyer, then obviously you'd probably want to stick with that person as you've built some sort of relationship with them. So this is very important because once all of the documentation is compiled, the lender will then be sending all this documentation to your lawyer for closing day. Nothing is official until closing day. So everything that you sign on this commitment letter, although it is indicating that you are making a formal commitment to this lender, however, nothing will be official until you sign the documents in front of your lawyer and the land transfer has taken place. After your lawyer information, you're going to notice that there are a list of special conditions before you can receive this mortgage advance. Typically, what the lender wants to see is proof of employment, proof of down payment, a void check, and any other documentation regarding the particular property that you're looking to take the mortgage out on. In this particular case, you'll notice that there are 10 items in the conditions list. Some of them have client in brackets, others have solicitor in brackets. So if you see anything with client in brackets, that's indicating that this is something that you need to forward on to your mortgage broker so that we can send that to the lender and have everything in place for closing day. On the next page, you'll have the option to determine what day of the week your mortgage payment will be taken out and how often it will be taken out. So if you'd like to go monthly like many traditional mortgages, feel free. However, many people are paid bi-weekly or weekly and prefer to have their mortgage payment taken out accordingly. You'll notice that there is many conditions here, or more or less statements, indicating how your information will be handled. So make sure that you do read through that. Many of these lenders, they're very, very particular and they will not sell your information to third parties or telemarketers, email lists, and so forth. So just make sure that you do read their privacy policy and that everything in there is as you would expect. You'll notice that there are different areas that you will need to sign, so definitely pay special attention. In this particular commitment letter, you'll notice that at the end of this privacy statement, you will have to sign. So if you have a single applicant or two applicants, you definitely want to make sure that those are taken care of. On the next page, we have our cost of borrowing. And essentially what this is a rundown of what you're borrowing and how much it will cost you per month. You'll notice that your mortgage payment is included here. And also at the end of the term, you'll notice how much you will owe according to this mortgage schedule. Terms and conditions do follow. You'll notice that there are quite a few, so it is very important that you do read through them and that you are confident in every single one of these terms and conditions. Every lender has different conditions. However, there are some that are very common across the industry. If you have any questions about any of these conditions, feel free to contact us at Kyle, K-Y-L-E, at homemortgageontario.ca. We'll help you with any of the interpretation, and once again, on closing day, your lawyer will also do the same for you. However, it's much better to take care of any questions prior to closing day so that they can be addressed before you have to go to meet with your lawyer. The next page has more terms and conditions. Also, you'll notice in here there are different types of fees and discharge fees and prepayment penalties, all kinds of details that you definitely want to make sure that you read. These terms are very, very typical across the industry. However, it is very important that you understand them before you sign any documentation. The next page is our pre-authorized debit payment. And what this essentially allows our lender to do is to automatically withdraw your mortgage payment on the specific days that you've indicated earlier on this commitment agreement. So what you're going to be doing is entering your details as well as your checking account information. You can find this checking account information on a check. Also note that one of the conditions will be to send a void check on to the lender, so do keep that in mind as you complete this step. You'll also want to arrange for your void check to be sent via fax or email. Some lenders also have donation programs. In this particular case, MCAP is affiliated with Habitat for Humanity, and they do ask for a donation. However, this is completely optional. If you do not want to donate, you do not have to return this form, but it is there in case you would like to participate. The last part of the documentation will be your home mortgage protection plan. This is essentially your mortgage insurance. You have an option for single coverage, joint coverage, or to waive the protection completely. In my professional opinion, I believe it's best for you to go to a life insurance agent and have life insurance taken out so that you avoid mortgage insurance completely. The reason we suggest this is because your mortgage will be protected by doing a plan like the following. However, it will only pay you the remaining balance. So if you owe $100,000, your $100,000 will no longer be under your name or your title. However, if you only owe $300, that's all you'll receive as well. So essentially, the payout will begin to reduce over time, whereas a life insurance policy typically will remain constant. However, the option is yours. We do require that that life insurance sheet is returned with either the acceptance checked off or waived checked off, and you must sign at the bottom. And then at the end, you'll notice we do have some more terms and conditions, examples, and scenarios for you. Okay, so quite a bit of information. Make sure that you do take your time with it, and feel free to contact us once again at homemortgageontario.ca. Our phone number is 519-818-0078. Visit us at homemortgageontario.ca.